Terrorism is a hard business. You know, infidels isn't free. So where does this money come from? Like, it's not collected from your average charity walk or GoFundMe, but it's not all illegal either. Terrorists can abide by laws too, you know. We're mostly going to look at the IRA for our examples, but you'll see similar cases in basically every organisation. Fuel smuggling was about 75% of the IRA's income in the 2000s. But not just moving fuel around, as a concerning amount of big news agencies report. It all comes from green diesel. Farmers use a lot of fuel, so there's a special type of fuel for them that costs only half as much. But if it's so cheap, why wouldn't everyone use it? Well, the government adds a dye, making it obvious if a regular car uses it. But if it's just a dye, it can be washed out, right? Now, I'm confused as to how there's just a YouTube tutorial of this online. But sometimes, it's as simple as just filtering it through cat litter. But sometimes, you just gotta resort to the basics. Robbery and kidnapping. Yeah, I know, it's basic, I'm sorry. There's not much detail on IRA robbery, but kidnapping gets very interesting. They would target anyone they thought would be worth something, anything. From businessmen to horses. Yeah, they kidnapped a f***ing horse. Well, important disclaimer. It was people involved with the IRA, raising money for the IRA, but the IRA denied responsibility, because of course they didn't want to be associated with these guys. At the time, Shergar was the most famous, and more importantly, most valuable horse in the world, worth like 43 million in today's money, making all this shit even more absurd. He had just won one of the biggest races in the world, by the largest margin in 2 centuries, so everyone wanted him. Including for some reason part-time paramilitaries. But he was done with work now, his racing days were over, and he was just being let out into fields filled with mares, and this guy was loving it. It wouldn't last long though. Soldiers pulled up on some random stable workers, armed to the teeth, and threw the horse in the trailer. But what was the next step? The guys doing it really didn't think it through. They couldn't breed from him, it's too hard to forge the records. And he was far too old to race. The only option was to hope that a ransom was paid. But these guys had no clue how to care for a horse, like small scale paramilitaries. Why would they be trained in this? So then the shareholders, yes, the fucking horse of shareholders, of course he did. Well, they basically refused to negotiate, and everyone started to get impatient. And eventually the horse just injured its own leg due to the mismanagement. And that was the last straw. It's believed the IRA just shot him and buried him somewhere. Poor guy. But, even this is a lot of effort. What if people could just give you money? Surely that would smooth things along. Well, the IRA was in a particularly good position for this, as a lot of people in a lot of places really don't like the English. Here's a direct quote from a Reddit post. The main source of weapons though was Colonel Gaddafi of Libya. He supplied the IRA with hundreds of tons of weaponry, primarily in the 1980s. It should be noted that the IRA didn't have to pay for these weapons. Gaddafi was apparently happy to offer them, if they were to be used against Margaret Thatcher's government, as the British had supported the US of Tripoli in 1986. In the event, about 1/3 of the Libyan weaponry was intercepted and never even reached the IRA. The remaining 2/3, however, completely re-equipped the organisation, Semtex in particular, proving vital to the prosecution of the armed campaign. Donations happened at a smaller scale as well. Often they just have collections, one running under the slogan, "Spare a penny to a British soldier." And, well, at least they're transparent. Often though, they'd have to get more sneaky, just saying that the money was going towards Irish political prisoners and refusing to elaborate. Off topic, but the Irish might have actually started the whole African Prince scam email. There were letters sent out, reading, "Dear friend, congratulations! You've been selected to help end 800 years of British misrule in Ireland." Forget all of this though, the real best way to make money is good old fashioned business moves. And as the government tells us, it's really hard to find out when a business is working for direct money laundering. But I think I found a checklist here. 1. A random business is required for much more than it's worth, with no explanation for the price increase. And 2. Only a week after, business profits go up, anywhere from double to 7 times regular. Now, of course, This can be hard to be certain of. Maybe your local corner store just had a really good month. But the whole cover of legitimacy stretches much further than you think. There's plenty of charities worldwide that range from weak links to stronger links. The main point is that most donors know exactly where their money's going, but just like having this little excuse in the back pocket, and the government can't really do anything about it, cause ooh, I'm just a poor little charity, and them pigs are trying to shut me down. It leaves the government in a weird situation, in which there's been a universal response worldwide. Nothing. Realize that it is way closer to you than you might think, no matter where you are in the world. And be careful where their money's going, especially with the current circumstances in the world. There's a fine line between supporting victims and causing more. Thank you, good luck, and boodaloop.